Mama, if you've been listening these past few weeks and feeling that tug on your heart, that whisper that you're meant for more, this is the moment to listen in closely. The Mom Biz Accelerator doors are closing this weekend, and this isn't just another program. This is a founding member opportunity that will never be offered again in this way. This is your invitation to step into a community that's going to change everything. A space where you'll not only build your business with clarity and confidence, but also have lifetime access to coaching, accountability, and a sisterhood of moms walking the same road you are. Because the truth is, you don't have to do this alone. Imagine where you could be 12 weeks from now, your first offer created, clients saying yes, systems in place to give you more freedom, not more overwhelm. And most importantly, you showing up for yourself and your family as a woman you've always wanted to be. Mama, this is your time. This is your chance. Enrollment closes this Sunday at midnight Eastern Standard Time. If your heart is saying yes, click the link in the show notes right now and claim your spot. I can't wait to walk this journey with you. Welcome to Radiant Mom Rising. Get ready to be inspired, empowered, and uplifted. I'm your host, Mary Dibble, and in each episode, we dive into amazing stories, insights, and conversations that help moms like you chase your dreams and embrace your worth. Let's rise and shine together. Hey, Radiant Mamas. Welcome back to Radiant Mom Rising. I'm your host, Mary Dibble, and today's episode is one that speaks to something we don't always give ourselves permission to lean into, our intuition. We live in a world that constantly tells us to go faster, do more, push harder. But what if the answers we've been searching for are already within us? What if slowing down and tuning into that quiet voice inside could transform the way we mother, the way we build our businesses, and the way we live our lives? That's exactly what we're diving into with today's guest, Jenn Cohen. After nearly 3 decades in the entertainment industry, Jenn followed her own intuitive calling and stepped into a whole new chapter of her life, helping others use their intuition to navigate challenges, shift energy, and align with purpose. Her story is fascinating, her wisdom is practical, and her message will leave you feeling empowered to trust yourself more deeply. Let's dive in. Jenn, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. It's so good to meet you and to be here.
Oh, it's so great to have you. So let's get started. If you will, introduce yourself to the listeners and tell us a little bit about what you do.
Sure. So I'm an intuitive consultant that after 27 years in the entertainment industry, left that industry and became an intuitive consultant, which, most executives do when they leave their corporate gig.
Yeah.
Yeah. And basically, I help people and businesses get clear on their intuition.
Well, that's an incredible topic, and I'm so excited to dive into that. Before we do, though, I'd love to hear a little bit about your background. You said you work in the entertainment industry. Tell us what that was like, and what are some of the things that you did within that industry?
Yeah, so I was very fortunate. Right after college, I landed a job at a little startup called DreamWorks, and and it had literally just launched. And I was fortunate enough to work within the marketing department and in the animation division.
Oh,
And
nice.
so talk about curiosity, talk
Yes.
about creativity, talk about, just imagination.
Mhm.
I remember thinking, oh, if this is what's after college, this is amazing. Of course it was. And then, it was a fantastic place that no one wanted to leave. And
Yeah.
so eventually I outgrew that and went on to work in various job departments, I'll say departments at IMAX in international marketing, at NBC Universal and the 20th Century Fox. And then eventually I did some production at Telepictures. And then I moved to New York and worked at Warner Media, where
Yeah.
I headed up marketing for within a financial division for all of entertainment there. So
Wow. I mean,
yeah,
what a journey
it
and such a
was,
great
yeah.
skill set that you gained right off the bat. Like, that's such a blessing because so many people, that is their biggest struggle. They go to college with this idea of getting into that career, finding that awesome job, and then they don't. And that's really hard. So, so happy that you were able to find that and utilize that. So now going from this entertainment world, the
Yeah.
marketing like you did, what happened in your life that led you to realize that intuition was your calling?
Yeah. So I would even say it was happening during.
Yeah.
So I went to school in pre-law.
Oh.
So completely like not what I ended up doing, but again, following that intuitive,
Yeah.
gut feeling and just saying, oh, this is interesting. And being able to recognize that even though I had, years of study in one way, but knowing, oh, you know what, that's really not what my soul's calling me to
Mhm.
do. But how I was able to tap into that actually happened when I was 20. I was just starting my junior year of college, and my dad passed very unexpectedly. And I went home, obviously, and the night of the funeral, I needed to kind of break away from all the people that were there. And I went back to my parents' bedroom and I lied on his side of the bed, and it was complete pitch black darkness. And I just kind of called out to God at that time, and I just said, what am I supposed to do? What now? And again, everything was off. The light, the bedside light next to the bed just flashed on and off and on and off. And I remember I stopped crying immediately and looked over and I said, Dad, is that you? Flashed on and off and on and off. And it was in that moment that I was just certain that there was other and
Made
that
me
there,
goosebumps.
yeah, yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. Oh, I love that. And it's a lot of people say, well, that's not your intuition, but it is because it's so real and it's such a knowing that no one could have come in and said, oh, the power grid went out in the neighborhood, or, like,
Yes.
oh, none of that happened. It was isolated, it was there. And that really led me to a trust that there was,
Yeah.
something else looking out for us, that I didn't have all the answers, and that I was going to be guided. And I had his support and love from another place.
Oh, gosh,
Yeah.
it was so beautiful, and sorry for your loss, but amazing to see how that led you
Yeah.
exactly where you're meant to be too. And I love the whole being guided because it's true. Like I think that's what I see so much with women in business or anyone in business really is always like the hows. They're like, how do I
Yeah.
do this? How do I do that? And it's like we're not always meant to know the answer, but you won't really know until you just do it. Like you got to do it
Absolutely.
messy. You got to just try different things and allow yourself to learn and grow. One of the things I just recently was hearing about from one of the coaches that I learned that I work with is, she's like, if you don't allow yourself to get through the crappy, bad consults and the bad things, like you're never going to become an excellent coach. Like it's all about allowing yourself and being open to like messing up and not
Yeah.
doing it all right because that's how you evaluate, learn, and grow. And you're not just going to automatically just be this excellent, perfect coach. You have to go through the grind in order to really figure it out for yourself. So I think that's a beautiful beginning journey for you and really opening yourself up to something and allowing that guidance to lead you.
Yeah, yeah. I always look at those, challenges
Yeah.
whenever I should say, intuition speaks with us. It doesn't often get loud, but it does repeat itself.
Yeah.
And so when we're able to follow that, kind of pull and something challenges us, it's almost just like a little bit obstacle where our sense, our intuitive sense, our guidance is saying, are you really in this? Do you really want to do this? Because if you can,
Yeah.
move through this,
Mhm.
we're going to reward you. We're going to reward you in a way that you can't even possibly imagine. So rather than, like you said, taking that hiccup as a sign that I'm not supposed to be doing this,
Yeah.
it's really saying, okay, let me settle, let me get in touch with my intuitive sense, which we all have. I call it, instead of our sixth sense, our first sense. I think we're all
Love
born with
that.
it.
Yep.
And let me really get in touch with why is this hitting me so hard? Is it because I'm afraid of failure, because I really want to do this? Okay, that's a little wink here, and I know that if I can push through this, learn what I needed to learn, and just take one baby step forward, the world is going to open up in a really big way. And that's really the gift of our intuition.
It is. Oh my gosh, I love that. And I'm seeing it unfold in my life. And I love
Yeah.
the that's why I do this and I'm having these conversations. I'm just so glad I'm even here doing this right now because
Yeah.
a couple years ago you told me that I'm having a podcast and interviewing people around the world and meeting all these incredible souls. Like I would have been like, no way.
Right.
Like, so
Right.
it's exactly that. And I'm all about the baby steps too because I feel like that is such a pressure as moms we put on ourselves or as women as people is we feel like we have to do all the things at like once and it's like no, 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 it's okay to just kind of gently get to that. There's nothing wrong with that. Yes, in some areas of our lives we're able to jump in with both feet and like
Right.
do the bigger leaps of faith, but in the beginning especially, like that's a great way to really get just going in some direction towards where you're meant to be. And like you
Yeah.
say, like look at you, you were in pre-law and then you ended up going in the entertainment industry and now you're doing the intuitive work. I mean, that's what I love about life. It is meant for us. It's unpredictable. It's meant for us to try new things and to find our way. And this whole talk about purpose. It's like
Mhm.
everyone's always looking for their purpose, but I think you won't find it if you just sit here thinking about it. You got to go out there and allow yourself to get out of your comfort zone and do the things and
Yeah.
stretch yourself and just see what different things feel for you. But
Absolutely.
I think it's amazing what you do and I love the intuition part. So tell us a little bit more what that like for someone who's listening is like I have no freaking clue
Sure. Yeah.
what
Yeah.
intuition is or how
Yeah.
that feels or
Yeah.
where can I even get started with
Yeah.
that? What would you say to
Yeah.
them?
First of all, I think it's such a shame that we don't talk about it as much as we should be. We talk about our five senses, we rely on our five senses. I'll say especially with females, our intuition is and as a mom, moms know, and it's not just limited to moms, but
Yeah.
that is such a heightened state of your intuition, knowing what your baby needs, knowing, two steps
Yes.
ahead of what what they're going to want.
Yeah. Hmm.
So if you're a mom and you're listening, know that you've already tapped into this. Now, what I do with my clients and what we work together on is really naming that because it's important to know and to applaud yourself for what you've done, and it's not just magic like you have a baby and then these you're
Yeah.
doing that.
Yes.
And intuition can only live in the present moment. Anytime that you're worrying about something in the future or ruminating on something in the past, you're out of your intuition.
Oh,
And so,
interesting.
children are amazing at this,
Yes, they are.
like when a baby's taking their first steps, they're not thinking about, I can't wait till I'm, running. I'm literally putting one foot in front of the other. When a baby's trying a new food, let me see this texture. Do I like this? They're
Yes.
very, very much, in that moment. I just had a client the other day where they're feeling very overwhelmed and newborn. Well, I shouldn't say newborn, like toddler
Yeah.
age,
Okay.
and whenever the toddler drank water, the guidance that was coming through for her was, "You take a sip of water." And it was
Ah.
just very much be in that present moment because everything was frazzled, and it's a very easy step, but it brings you into that moment. Like, okay, baby is taking a sip of water. I'm taking a sip of water. Boom. I'm here. That's the most important thing at that moment. And the hydration, I mean, our bodies are, 67% water. That's where we're tuning in with our intuitive self too. So, water's charged, the flow of water, it's a very simple thing, but simple things we can make extremely hard.
Don't we though? I know.
Yeah.
And what's
Yeah.
almost crazy, it's like I feel like we have this idea and this conditioning that it's supposed to be hard. So when somebody tells you something as simple as like just pause and breathe, you're like, that is
Yeah.
not going to work. But yet it does so well. Like it's
Yeah.
like the little things that make such a big impact on really helping you, like you say, hone into your now, get into your present and clear that stuff, clear
Yeah.
all that anxiety and stress. And because I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know about people listening, and I'm sure you do, but my mind is always going 100 miles per hour. Like I have ADD too, so it's like I'm
Mhm.
like that squirrel kind of person. So it's very challenging, but doing this work and allowing myself to take those moments to pause, breathe, and really learn to be present. Like I love the book. I haven't finished it, but The Power of Now by
Mhm.
Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah,
I
totally.
love it. Yes,
Amazing.
I need to read the rest of it. I know I'm so
Hmm.
like I'm always like I have so many books I'm trying to read right now.
Hmm.
Like I'm like back and forth, but I need to like
Hmm.
stick through it. But it's still, even with the little bit that I've digested and even what I'm learning, it's so powerful and really learning to become present. And like you say, listening to that intuition. I
Yeah.
have made so many wrong choices in my life by not listening to my gut. I I've really
Hmm.
worked on listening to that. So tell us like what's some
Yeah.
good first steps then for someone
Sure.
who would like to get more in tuned with their intuition.
Sure. So the first thing, and if you don't mind, I'm just going to go
Yeah.
back to
Oh
something that
yes.
you just said,
Hmm.
because language is really important. And so, when we think about if it's not hard, it's not worth it, that's so last century.
Yes. Is
It's so last century,
thank
and a lot of what I work with people on is continuing patterns and cycles that our previous generations have passed down to us. And we are in a place in this world now, I mean, the rapid amount of change that is happening, just in the last 5 years.
yeah.
You look at it, you look at how quickly technology, how
Yes. AI.
quickly, the energy is moving. And so we need to be able to catch ourselves when we say things like it needs to be hard, or in
Yeah.
order for it to be work, and no blood and sweat and tears, and it's not worth it. That's such baloney, and
Hmm.
like baloney. Then talk
I
about
love
generational. um,
I love it.
but it's just not true.
Yeah.
And we're seeing, a rapid amount of entrepreneurs come.
Yes.
And how different is that from
I
20, 30 years ago?
know. Right?
Yeah, when it was, nope, you need to work for the man, that's the corporate, your insurance,
Yes.
da, 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 your
Oh my
pension, all those things.
Yep.
And, you know,
Security. Yeah.
that's right. And then
Yeah.
you get to live life at 65.
Oh gosh,
No,
I know.
no, no, thank you.
Yes, I love
And so this is where when we start to bring in our intuitive sense, and you can even see when we start to talk about language, that's your intuition when you're just like, no, that actually isn't it. That's just something I'm saying. And it might be a belief that's attached to a value, and those beliefs can change.
that. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that a
And
beautiful thing right there?
yes, yes,
They could change.
absolutely, absolutely. And so what we'll start with, just depending on where a person is in connecting with their spirit, with their intuitive self, we'll start with small tweaks have huge effects.
Yeah.
So, what I would say to you around Eckhart Tolle and the books and all the books that you have, instead of saying, I've got to get back to that, I've got to get back to that, what I would do is I would make sure that all the books that I'm reading at the time, and I do this myself, are kind of laid out, and like
Yes.
they're in a way that I can see them. And then whenever you read, I don't know if it's before you go to bed, whatever, but you look and you allow your intuition to tell you which book to read at that night.
Ooh.
And that's it, because that's what wants to be ingested. It's not, I have to finish that. That book isn't going anywhere. And
Yeah.
you're meant to read whatever the author has written for you at the time that you're ready to receive it.
Ooh, that's powerful right there. I love it. Thank you. Because that is
Yeah.
like what right there, a little transition even for myself right there that I can do because I do feel pulled and it's crazy. I
Hmm.
think that is why I am a little all over the place. And what's
Hmm.
amazing is one of the things I've been noticing and being building my awareness around is when I'm in a place of challenge, when I feel myself having that little place of disappointment or feeling certain ways that I can see like, no, I don't want to stay in this energy. I notice that all of a sudden certain people are posting, certain podcasts pop up that literally speak to that exact situation that I'm feeling and I'm struggling with. And that is where I'm seeing, you're right, that God is speaking to me. He is giving me the answers. He's also just comforting me. It's almost like a
Yeah.
comfort of like, yes, I'm This is other people are struggling with this. I'm not alone. I got this. And it gives me some answers, some refreshing, some different perspective, even, which is
Yeah.
powerful and helping me to be like, you know what? I may be in this dip, but I'm not going to stay here. I will find my way out. And then I just open myself up to listen and receive. And like I said, that's so neat. I never even saw it like that with even my books, because the type of books I have right now are all different areas of inspiration for me.
Mhm.
And I do get just the right things when I do pick them up in the different ways that I do. So I love that. Thank you.
Yeah. And then one thing to add, because I love that about the podcast and about,
Yes.
the posts and everything, because how magical is that? But
I
that's energy,
know.
right?
Yes.
And when I get that and I read it, what I'll do is I'll acknowledge, because this is part of it, and I'll say, thank you, more, please.
Thank you more.
And it's saying, I see that I'm tapped in. Okay, keep sending these types of things so that I can, work this muscle so that I can get
Yes.
it stronger. And it's out of gratitude and it's out of recognition. And this is what the universe and again our intuitive self is in that space. It's in this higher space, obviously, that we came. Well, I don't want to get to, but that
Yes.
we came from, that we were birthed from, and then it's like, oh, okay, this is what she wants. She wants more of this. I'm going to match this energy. I'm going to match this type of vibration and frequency, not the spiraling, not the confused, not the conflict, not the critical thinking.
Yes.
Okay, no, I can feel the deep breath that she took. I can feel that there's oneness there. I can feel that there's community. I can feel that there's, an expansiveness in nonverbal,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yes.
going to continue to give that to her.
Oh, I love that. And that is very powerful because I mean, that's the thing I've learned the most is just understanding how like your subconscious mind's always going to try to prove you right. So if
Yeah,
you have that belief that it's meant to be hard or that I'm not allowed to earn or I can't afford this, then it's going to keep proving that. So I
yeah.
love the way that we can shift that. We can change that to having these empowered beliefs and watching as it all works out. It all unfolds in that energy and that frequency. Like you say, you know, the idea for so many people to think about just opening themselves up to receive blessings is just woo woo in their
Yeah,
eyes a lot of
yeah,
times, right? But
sure,
I for me
yeah.
and I was very skeptical when I first was introduced to life coaching, when I first saw this.
Mhm.
But as somebody who has overcome like I was a drug addict as a teen. I struggled. I had a child at 20. I became a mom very early. I never went to college. I was homeless at the age of 15 on. So it's like I've been through my abuse relationships, all sorts of stuff. And I grew up within that negative mindset. My mom was an amazing mom. She was a single mom. She really worked her butt off and did everything she could to provide. She always supported us. She always did what she could. But life happens, and I was not an easy teen to deal with, and she literally didn't know how to handle it. So she kind of like allowed me to God to just take over.
Hmm.
I love the way he moved me through all the things that he did because I didn't even grow up in church. So the fact that he found me anyways is powerful in itself. But he saved me, and just seeing how I've evolved and then knowing what life coaching has really even further expanded me and opened my eyes to realizing that I matter too. It has been the best way that I've been able to help other moms is help them to realize that you matter too. Like, I get that we are meant to take care of our kids and to do all the things, but our dreams are just as important. Our well-being, our self-care needs to be taken seriously because I think the whole idea too is how we model for our kids is super important. So, just all of this right here is such a powerful way to reconnect with ourselves, to allow ourselves to be guided, to be open and see that this stuff is no joke. Like it really can change everything. Almost the most every pretty much most every successful person you'll ever meet. Now, not everybody gets there this way. Some people are
Hmm.
dirty.
That's right. That's right.
You can get there in a dirty way, but I know for me
Yeah.
and the people that I surround myself with, that I want us to do it in a very empowering, beautiful way in which we rise and thrive together. So,
Yeah.
I really do want anyone listening to take this in and to think about how you can start opening yourself up to listening to that intuition more and, just receiving that's meant for us.
Yes. Oh, I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. And just to piggyback off that, because you said it so beautifully, is, it's not our job to hunt down our intuition. It's really our responsibility to put ourselves in a place to hear it.
Yeah.
And that's rather than focusing on how am I gonna hear this? How is it gonna find me? It's here.
Yeah.
That is really empowering. And the onus is on us where, okay, in this present moment, the baby might be screaming, the kids might be going nuts, whatever's happening. Okay, let me just take a breath, understand that that is needs my attention, but let me just connect and say, I'm willing to receive right now. Please guide my head, heart, mind, spirit in the direction of the greatest good, and then go and do. But again, it's not always, I get it. Like it can make you nuts.
Yeah.
But being able to have that breath just to start with is going to open up so many more doors.
Yeah.
And it's going to allow you to start to understand, okay, why are the kids going nuts right now? Why is the baby crying? Okay, there's going to be some guidance here that's going to not only make their life easier, but it's going to make my life easier. And it has to do with my own energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It has,
Yeah.
it has to do with how I am in this moment. And it might be a freaking tough day.
Hmm.
And that might be it. It might just be, you know what? Today was one of those days. Today was one of those days. And I'm going to chalk it up to that. And I'm going to start fresh tomorrow. But acknowledging and allowing yourself the compassion
Hmm.
and the grace
Yeah.
to say, this was just one of those days. Like it's not going to snowball. But that again is our intuition. I had a day like that the other day where I could literally trace it back to the night before eating something I shouldn't have ate. And it wasn't because I was punishing myself. It
Yeah.
was just out of stress.
Yeah.
And it was out of, okay, this is finally done. Now I'm going to reward myself. And it was an overindulgence
Oh, okay.
that made me feel very like I was going back to old habits.
Oh.
And it really impacted my next day because until I caught it and I was beating myself up over it,
Hmm.
I allowed it to just pass through. And so everything that I was around, I have a new puppy, everything that I was around that day was out of control. And I was like, this is not like a puppy's a puppy. And I understand, they're gonna go wild and they need a lot of playtime and everything. But this was an extra layer of puppyhood. And I could trace it right back to me.
Wow.
Right
But
back to
yeah,
me.
because we don't realize how powerful our energy is and how it affects our kids, it affects our animals. It really does. They
Yeah.
feed off of it. So when you have a child who's throwing a tantrum and you go and have this, oh my God, stop it
Hmm.
energy, you're only gonna literally add to that and make the whole situation worse. Where, like you said, just your simple take some breath. Lord
Yeah.
Jesus, guide me, help me through this. And,
That's right.
I had this situation recently with my son where I took him to his exam and he's just turned 4 and he just freaks out over them just even taking his blood pressure or doing the hearing test. And but for
Hmm.
him, it was terrifying. So,
Hmm.
as a mom, it's easy to kind of feel like that. I felt initially that sense of almost like embarrassment, like, oh my God, this
Hmm.
poor nurse is having to deal with this screaming child over something so simple. But I realized I had to catch myself and be like, no, no, he needs me. Like he's terrified. He's in his own
Hmm.
little world. And even regardless of how I see it, it's not the way he sees it. So I really calmed my energy and got down to his level and
Amazing.
I just let him know, like, you got this. It's okay. You're good. And I made him go through with every bit of it to show him. Yeah, you see, you
Yeah.
survived. It wasn't so bad, was it?
Yeah.
But it's like I
Yeah.
was so proud because as a mom, like there was a time that I would allow those moments to stress me out because I was so worried about what anyone else thought or just the fact that my kids being whatever. But now I've learned like, no, 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 that does not help anybody in the situation. It's all about just really thinking about from their perspective, trying to see it through their eyes and just really being that support and that calm energy. Oh my God, that calm,
Yeah.
and it made such a difference. And even when he had to get his shots, I was like, I was honest with him. I was like, now this part's gonna hurt, but we're gonna get through it. We're gonna
Excellent.
get through it. And he did. And he did a
Excellent.
great job. So,
And you know what? Not even in that moment, because what I'm hearing from this is that you're showing him to be able to express himself
Yeah.
too in the future of like, you know what, this isn't exactly my cup of tea, you
Yeah.
know, like it could be a little bit of vulnerable and not with shame.
Yes.
And so that was beautiful what you did, not only in that moment, but breaking a cycle that toxic masculinity.
Yes, yes, I definitely
Um,
I'm big on that because
yeah,
I really want my kids to, like you say, be able to express themselves and also like understand that life is going to throw some bad things at you, but
yeah,
it's how you handle it that really determines the outcome. Like I've always told them, there are consequences whether they're good or bad. That's your decision on what you end
yes,
up with, so just be mindful of what you choose to do, because I know I'm not going to be able to be there to always help them in those situations, but I want them to be resilient, strong, and not just thrown off guard of like,
yeah,
whoa, whoa, what's going on? So I
it's
love to
awesome.
work to prepare them for that because yeah, I mean that's something I didn't get, which is
Yeah,
why I fell into the drug world. I fell into this other crazy life because I didn't understand. I didn't have the self-confidence. I didn't have the self-worth. I didn't understand what any of that was. And here I am thinking I'm fat and ugly and all the horrible things. So it's of course I was peer pressured easily. I just wanted attention. I wanted someone to notice me, and Lord knows that did not lead me in the right direction. But
mm-hmm.
thankfully, like I said, it doesn't matter what you've come from. Doesn't matter where your parents and all them come from. We get to decide now who we want to be, where we want to go, how we want to raise our families, and that to me is awesome because it's not like we're pigeonholed because of what our family, our generations have gone through. We get to decide now what we want for our future.
Mm,
Yeah. So,
so good, so good,
but I love it. And
so
that's
good.
why I love meeting people like you. You're such an inspiration because of seeing your journey and seeing where you go through. You gave me that inspiration to keep going because, I'm newer in this direction of
Mhm.
entrepreneurship, but everything I'm learning is just so powerful. And I just know I'm meant for this. And I can't wait to always take everything that I'm learning and people like you and share it and get that message out there because there's someone else who's a little bit further behind than me that I
Yeah,
get to help now get to this level of having the confidence of just doing it messy and just, making it happen.
absolutely. Oh no, you're such an inspiration,
Oh, thank
and
you.
yeah, your story is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and like I said,
Yeah,
I would love to also if you would share a little bit about like what it looks like to work with you, like
yeah.
some of the things that you do to help your clients and what that looks like.
Yeah, of course. So it's funny, I work with a lot of moms and I work with executives and businesses and entrepreneurs and everything in between. The youngest age I've worked with is 15. And so I talk about inspiring is this new generation that is so open
Mhm.
to energy work, that is so open to vibes, you
Yeah, I
know?
love that.
Yeah. And like, they're not just saying it as like a cool word.
Right.
They're like, oh no, the vibe's off in here when I walk in. And I'm just like, oh my God, it took me until I was 40 to understand that,
I
you know?
know.
But so they're so primed for knowing how to tap into their intuition. But anyway, I digress. So depending on where somebody is, we'll work together on honing their intuitive skill set. We'll channel into their higher self. We'll channel into guidance and support from specific guides. If they have family members that have passed, or it doesn't even have to be family members, people that have passed that
Yeah.
they would like support around, guidance around, we can tap into that, whether living or past. So we can actually do a lot with conflict resolution. So if you know you're having an issue or you can't understand why I just had this why your 9-year-old is acting a specific way,
Mm-hmm.
we can tap into their higher self and we can get guidance from them. And that's a beautiful thing because usually what's happening with parents is that they're taking their past experience and bringing it into their present of parenting.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's what
Yeah.
we know.
Mm-hmm.
And again, our intuition knows this, but sometimes hearing it from, you know, their child illuminates it even greater. And they can say, yeah, you know what, I kind of knew that. Or yeah, that sounds exactly like something he would say
Yes.
or she would say. And so it's a beautiful permission that allows the parent to just kind of take a step back and say, "Oh yeah, I do see that in my child, and I'm gonna I'm gonna allow myself not to superimpose what my hurdles are
Mm.
onto them." And again, it's kind of breaking that
Yes.
generational cycle.
Yes.
So that's basically how we work. It's a conversation, even just how we were talking. You were talking about the books, and you know,
Yes.
basically I'm receiving guidance as you're talking,
I love that.
and I'm just able to express what your higher self is
Uh-huh.
actually saying. Hey, let's pay attention to this. You know, just a real quick story when I was getting ready to leave my corporate job the last 2 years. And again, your intuition, like it can take some time, you know, and it's almost priming you to make a move sometimes. Sometimes it happens, boom, that's it, that's my decision. And then sometimes, like I was probably ready to leave my career 2 to 3 years before I actually jumped. And during that time, I would hear myself repeating to people, it's like talking to a wall, like talking to these people is like talking to a wall. And then one day I was meditating and I saw this visual of myself looking myself dead in the eyes and saying, it's like talking to a wall. And I was like, ugh, this is a me problem, you
Yes.
know? And then it was very quick of leaving the space. But, you know, through challenges, through scenarios, through opportunities, you know, our intuition is really guiding us in a way that's it's not here for smallness. It's not here to keep you protected. It's here for greatness. And
That's
it's yeah, it's a beautiful skill set to hone.
Yeah, I can imagine because you talking about that, it's something that I even feel in my own personal sense, my journey right now, and I know other moms who are in places where they feel called to like leave their jobs and jump into this like business like 100%, but it's so scary when it's like, it's not there
It
yet.
is.
And it's like, well, what
Yeah.
do I listen to? And so I can imagine that's the struggle. Like, even sometimes, like, yeah, you can hear your intuition, but having that real faith and trust and really following through,
Yeah.
that's kind of another thing. And I can imagine working with someone like you, that's very helpful
Yeah.
because that is a big struggle. It's like, it's one thing to also hear it, but are you going to listen to
Right,
it?
right. And to have somebody say, like, we'll go, I'll have an hour session with someone, and 50 minutes is kind of like, you know, this is, I need help with this, and this is what I'm struggling with, which is great. And then they'll say, before I go, I need to tell you something. And it is the most miraculous story you've ever heard. And you're just like, wait a sec, wait a sec. Do you see that this is the thank you more please? This is the breadcrumb saying, okay, you've crossed this bridge. Now these obstacles that are coming, okay, this is just the next layer of this game almost. You know, okay, you've made it to level 4 now. Okay, it's a little, you're going to get bigger, you know, fireballs thrown at you or whatever, but you're going to be able to slay that dragon. You're going to be able to hurdle that obstacle. And so, but it's fascinating how the mind is like, let me dump all of this crap and then, you know,
Ditto.
oh, yeah, and then oh my God, you know something really good happened. And but that's really how our brain works. It's like let me flood you with fears because that is how I keep you safe.
Mm,
And now, as we've evolved, we're not, you know, predators or have
yeah.
predators, you know, And if we do, we can spot them and we can do
Yes.
something about it. And then once you're able to kind of dust off that clutter, you can see, oh yeah, and then this really beautiful thing happened with me, or I met this person out of the blue.
Yes.
No, you didn't meet them out of the blue. It's a synchronicity. It's not a coincidence.
Love it.
And let's keep going.
I love that. You're right. And this is
Yeah.
why like journaling and brain dumping is so
Yeah.
powerful because I've
Yeah.
had many times where I'm like, I feel it and I'm like, I got to get this out. And then by the end of it, you're right. I'm sitting here like in the most positive, inspirational, new like revelation from
Yeah.
this, like me getting it out and stuff. And this is why I feel like it's so important to take the time to do things like that because it really does help build that clarity around you. Or like you say, I didn't even think of it like that. You're practically getting all the crap out so that you open yourself up to actually hear the answer and
That's
find
it.
that revelation that you're looking for. So
Perfect. That's
I
it.
know
That's
exactly.
it.
I love
Yeah.
it. And it
Yeah.
is it's these things that like I said, is so powerful and so doable. This is why I love like it was for moms, like having these conversations and sharing this stuff because it's so doable in our busy lives. Like we are always feeling like we're too busy for this, we're too busy for this, blah blah blah. Even though I feel like that's an underlining excuse that we always love to hide behind, not why we don't do more, why we don't pursue other or prioritize things that we know we really want to. And so it's nice to show them, hey, okay, you're so busy, but you got 2 minutes, you got 90
Yeah.
seconds where you can meditate. And 90 seconds of a meditation just to start with is powerful. That was one of the
Absolutely.
things that I got was challenged to do once. And now I love my morning meditations and it's growing more and more. Or even
Yeah.
nighttime, plugging in and doing one of those subconscious reprogramming YouTube videos that just I fall asleep to is powerful. And it takes some
Powerful.
time, right? I mean, I
Absolutely.
even with my day job, I try my best with, I know I have work stuff to do, but I also like listen into some of my courses or I'm listening to my coach or I'm listening to a podcast, something that's filling me up, and I do my best to like hear it. And sometimes I think, well, even if I'm not always conscious of everything I'm hearing, subconsciously it's getting in there.
Yeah.
And I can always go back and re-listen if I really find something, but I found that it's still better to just continuously feed myself any kind of positivity that I can,
Oh my
Eh,
God.
you know?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. That's
It is,
awesome.
and that's where I'm really working on because I am ready. Like I'm at that point in my life. I'm 38. I am ready to receive the blessings and
Yeah.
just to really serve others and take everything that I've learned and how I've grown and how I've transformed and help anyone else who's like dying for that too to show them, hey, it's possible. I got you.
Yeah.
I'm your
Yeah.
cheerleader. I got you.
Yeah. Well, and it's a next level for you. It's a next
Yeah,
level of receiving,
it is.
and you're helping so many. And when you are tapped into that, there's no way that the universe is going to be like, no, we don't want you to help other people. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. I
And
know. And
so
that's
that's
why, yeah,
beautiful.
I challenge anyone listening, like, look at the things that pop up in your way when you're starting to be like, I want this, I want more, I want to change, or what do I just notice what starts showing up and then whatever feels right, do it. Because that's
Yeah.
how I started this podcast. I was literally just scrolling one day and saw this ad about a boot camp for a podcast, and I was like, oh, cool. I was like, I'll join it. It's free, it's fun. Let me do it. Lord, she got me. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved her energy. I loved everything about her. Kathy Heller is amazing.
Oh,
And
she's
you know
amazing.
Kathy
Yeah.
Heller? Yes, I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
Kathy Heller.
Yeah.
She has changed my life. She's my mentor now. I've done several of her programs. I love learning from
Fantastic.
her. Yes, she's one of her book, Abundant Ever After, is one of the books that I'm also reading along. And you're right. Every time I open
Mhm.
that, it's always like it speaks to me, and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I need to.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, it's magic.
It is.
And it's not woo-woo. And
Yes.
those types of words that we were fed during a
Yes.
patriarchal time
Yeah.
that we are out of, we're in the divine feminine,
Yeah.
it's synchronistic and it's magic.
It is. It
And
is.
it's available.
It is available. It absolutely is. And Jen, I know we're coming to the end of our time.
Yeah,
I always love to open the floor though. Is there any final piece of advice that you would love to share with the listeners today?
I would say that, when you're in knowing, there's no question attached to it. So it's a tip that I always love to just kind of ponder on, where If you're with your kids and you know something for them, it's sometimes easier when you're doing it for others than yourself. But just to practice, like you can think of a situation where you just knew this is what's going to happen with your child, and there's no question attached to it.
Wow.
That's your intuition. And if you go, well, maybe and maybe not, okay, you're out of it. And there's something off there.
Yes.
And there's just a little bit of a disconnect. So that is, and it doesn't mean punish yourself and it doesn't mean ruminate on it. It just means, okay, that's interesting. That's curious. Okay.
Yes, yes, I love it. Love it. And
Yeah.
that's a great way to see it too, the curious aspect instead of beating ourselves up, because Lord knows
Yeah.
we do enough of that. Let's
That's
stop
right.
that. Let's start really having that compassion, that self-love, and understanding that, we're all in this, like, we're just really working to navigate this world. And why not come together and let's inspire, uplift, and help each other to be the best versions of ourselves, to get through the rough times and to, like I said, just embrace who we're meant to be and what we're meant to do. So I love everything you're
Yeah.
about, Jenn. You're amazing. Anyone listening, go check her out, go learn more from her. And I'm so thankful that I met you. And thank you
You
so much for
too.
being part of this show.
No, this is great. Thank you.
Mama, today's episode is such a beautiful reminder that you already carry so much wisdom within you. You just have to trust it. Jenn's story shows us what's possible when we stop ignoring the inner nudge and instead start aligning our choices with who we're truly meant to be. Here are the key takeaways from today's episode. Follow your own path, even if it means leaving behind what looks successful on the outside. Embrace intuition as a powerful guide for making aligned decisions in motherhood, business, and life. Practice presence and listening to strengthen your connection to your inner voice. See challenges as a test that can deepen your resilience and reward your commitment. Recognize the impact of energy. Your vibes affect your children, your business, and everyone around you. Harness empowerment through intuition to create clarity, break cycles, and lead with confidence. Take baby steps toward your goals, trusting that small aligned actions compound into transformation. Be sure to click on Jenn's links in the show notes to connect with her today and follow her more on her incredible journey. And speaking of alignment, this is it. Enrollment for the Mom Biz Accelerator officially closes this weekend. This is your final chance to be part of something that will grow into a powerful movement of moms rising together, where you're going to get lifetime access to me as your life coach, so you never again feel alone on this journey. Inside the accelerator, I'm going to help you confidently navigate your identity as both a mom and a business owner, build offers that actually attract what's meant for you, and create a business that supports the life you desire, not the other way around. This is about clarity, accountability, and unstoppable support, that kind that keeps you going when the dips come so you don't quit but rise into the purpose you're meant for. This beta enrollment is a once-ever opportunity at the lowest cost it will ever be offered. Don't miss your moment to lock arms with me and an incredible community of moms who are ready to thrive. Doors close this weekend, so grab your spot now and let's build the life and business you were made for. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, keep rising, keep shining, keep believing in all that is possible for you. Much love.